All right. Welcome, everybody, to Football Meets Your ELF Star. We're back here. Finally, I have found time. My name is Matthias, and I want to interview today Jadrian Clark, quarterback of Rhein Fire Düsseldorf. Hey, Jadrian, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. It's a great pleasure. I mean, the ELF is going into their third year and 2 years in the books, and you are a ELF legend, I can say already, because you played both years there. So we will talk a lot about the ELF today, but also we want the community, which is following us on Twitch right now. So hello to everybody there. We want them to get to know you a little bit better, talk a little bit about your past, also about like the last season, and maybe we find something out about your future as well. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, great. All right. So I had some notes here. So because if there are people out there who don't know you or don't know who you are, I have some data about you. You are from Indianapolis. Is that correct?
I was born there, but I'm from Lakeland, Florida.
Okay, but you were born in Indianapolis, and then you went to George Jenkins High School, and I skipped some schools because you had a lot of football teams: Weber State Wildcats, Kirchdorf Wildcats, New York Alliance, Schwäbisch Hall Unicorns, AFC Vienna Vikings. Everybody knows them because they're the champion of the ELF right now. Hamburg
Mhm.
Sea Devils, Lübeck Cougars, and Rhein Fire. Is that about your football journey so far?
Yeah, once you put it like that, it's quite the extensive list. Never was the plan to play for so many different teams, but never expected Corona to happen. Never expected a new league to happen. So many different things have happened during my career that I've kind of ended up playing for a few different teams. But it's been a cool ride, and I'm happy to be back with the Rhein Fire now.
Yeah, so I go a little bit off script here because we are always going off script here, I
Okay.
feel like. But what was your favorite destination? If you would like look at all the stations so far, is there something you can pick, or is there a certain life state you connect to every station you were?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to give a favorite, but I think currently playing for the Rhein Fire has probably been a really, really cool experience in the sense of being a part of building a new franchise and seeing such a passionate fan base come together behind the team. We have a great coaching staff, great teammates, great city. It's been really, really cool playing there. My college experience was also really cool. It shaped me
Mm.
into who I am as a person as much as who I am as a player. So, I mean, it's hard to pick just one place, but I think those are the two that stand out the most.
Yeah, your college experience was pretty impressive. I mean, you had 6,568 yards total there in that offense. And how was that? Like, how was that for you? How is that for like a college student? I always wondered. I mean, you had to study as well, right? What did you study?
I studied finance with
Okay.
a minor in political science. So it was a lot. Yeah, I mean, waking up at 6 a.m. every day. My first year there was a shock. I was originally from Florida and then out in Utah, so it was a totally new experience for me. Almost more different than moving to Germany. I would say Florida to Utah was such a crazy difference that then once I moved to Germany, that was easy. Um, it was cool, man. I mean, it was everything that you kind of see in the movies. There was, the parties, the atmosphere, the college experience, being around your teammates, the locker room culture. It's everything that I think football should be, and it was a lot of fun.
When did it start? Or how did it start to have the idea to move to Germany after all, you know?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, my goal, like I think pretty much everyone in America, was to play in the NFL. Um, I went up to Seattle briefly. Things didn't work out, and then had the opportunity to uh, or I thought my career was over, I guess you could say. And then, I started getting some messages from people and found out that there was football in Germany. And I was like, what? I didn't even know that it existed. And then I looked into it more. And then, I started researching Germany a little bit and started researching, just a few things about Munich and some of the areas. My first season was in Bavaria, and I was like, wow, this is really
Mm.
cool, man. I'll go over, play some football, travel Europe, go to Oktoberfest, drink some beer, and have a good time. And then it just kind of turned into one of those things that I just kept coming back because I kept getting more and more opportunities and enjoyed the hell out of it. It's been a cool ride.
Yeah. I mean, we just talked about it. You had different destinations in Germany. You had Kirchdorf, the New York Alliance, Schwäbisch Hall Unicorns, and now the ELF teams. You were
Yeah.
always seen as an import, right? So in the GFL, also, I heard that some benefits were made or some people got paid, and always people think, okay, the imports come here, they play better, but they also get paid a lot. But it's not really the reality. You have to also adapt to a completely new situation, right? I mean, can you talk a little bit about like an import life, because you had this and lived this for a couple of years now?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's a good question. I think the biggest challenge for an American coming over to Europe that's played, maybe high level football in America, Division I football, is you go from having so much structure and so many things organized for you to suddenly they give you the keys and the Wi-Fi password, and it's like, hey, here's the gym, here's a restaurant or two you can go to,
Do
figure it
your
out.
thing.
And yeah, do your thing. And you're like, I don't speak the language, anything, it's like so much, new stuff to learn and more than anything, so much free time. So, I mean, you just have to, you sink or swim, you find a way to build your own schedule and stay on track and make something out of it, or you kind of, can become lazy because of that. So I think part of what's led to my success is doing my best to try to stay on a little bit of a schedule, going to the gym, doing different things. And that's worked out well for me.
Yeah. So after the GFL, you decided to join the ELF, or when the ELF was founded, you decided like to join this league. What were the reasons for that decision? And how did it come that you ended up with the Hamburg Sea Devils the first time?
Okay, yeah, that's another good question. So during the 2020 season, obviously Germany decided to not have a season at all because of the Corona situation. So I went down to Vienna. The Schwäbisch Hall Unicorns kind of helped set that up for me. And we went undefeated and won the Austrian Championship that year. It was like a weird situation because there was a limited amount of teams. But my teammate there at the time, Andrew Spencer, super cool guy. He went on to be on The Bachelor in America and everything and quit playing football. But super funny guy. Yeah, he's cool.
Did he win? Or was
No,
he the Bachelor?
I don't think he got picked, but he got some clout from it, and he's got enough followers. He's making money just off that. But no, but what he brought up, what we were having dinner one night at the end of the season, and he was saying, "Oh, the Austrian teams would kick all the German teams' ass. They're just scared to play us." And I was like, "No, I don't think that's it. I think it's more of an issue of nobody's been able to set up, a structure and a league where everyone can compete under the same rules." And we were sitting with the coach of the Vienna Vikings, the offensive coordinator at the time, him and I, and we were like joking, like, man, wouldn't it be cool if they could just get all the best teams of Europe together and play under the same rules and just create a European league? And this was like November of 2020 or around that time. And so then I went back to Germany because I was living year round in Germany at the time. And I got a call from Coach Namensson and Patrick Azume, and they reached out to me and they like told me, we want to start this European league, all this stuff. I was like, what the hell? I was just like, literally just having a conversation like 2 days ago about how cool this would be, and now it's happening. And they invited me up on a trip to Hamburg, and they just kind of proposed what they were thinking, and I was like, wow, man, this is everything Europe is lacking in the football scene, and it's kind of been, it's obviously hasn't been perfect, but I think what they've done in the first 2 years coming out of a world pandemic has been pretty damn impressive, and it continues to grow. So it's been awesome. That's basically what led me to the league.
Yeah, and I mean the first season in Hamburg was pretty successful for you guys. You reached the final. Well, you lost a nail biter against Frankfurt. We will talk about that game later a little bit, but you had a very not too extensive. No worries.
No problem.
But okay, cool. Because you had a really successful season, but still the Hamburg offensive game, got a little bit criticized all the time during the season compared to other teams, How did that end up with you as a team when you remember at your Hamburg days, or did you hear anything of that? Did you give anything about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll go back to Weber State to answer that question. My college coach, Jay Hill, told me a really wise piece of advice back then. When you're the head coach and the quarterback, you get too much credit when things are going well, and you get too much blame when things are going bad. And I mean, I look back on my season with the Hamburg Sea Devils, and I know that I didn't play perfectly, but there was a lot of other extenuating factors. Nobody played football in Germany for a year and a half, you know. Offense takes much more time to gel than defense. We didn't really get to have a preseason. We were outskirting Sperry. There was a lockdown leading up to it, and boom, now we're expected to play football on a high level. And it was just tough. I mean, there was a lot of factors being thrown in. We didn't get to practice very much. We only practiced twice a week when I was there. And yeah, I mean, I would have liked to have had better personal production, and I would have liked to have put up better stats. But if you look back at that season as time went on, by the playoffs and championship, we were clicking and the offense finally was working. And I would argue we had as good a passing game as anyone in Europe at the time. So it was kind of unfortunate that we lost the championship. And then a lot of the blame, I think, was from the outside perspective, was shifted towards me. And the team decided to basically go in a different direction. And it is what it is, right? Like, I would have wished that things would have been different, and I would have been given an opportunity to return and prove, you know, that I am a player of a really high caliber. But they decided not to, and that's what led me to Rhein Fire, and it kind of all worked out. And I wouldn't change anything. It's kind of helped me grow. It helped me go through I guess the first quote unquote rejection or failure up until that point in my career. Everywhere I'd been up until that point, I'd been, you know, praised and been told how great I was. So it was kind of maybe a humbling experience to go through that. And it can only, if you can go one of two ways, you can put your head down and get upset, or you can get back to work and come back even stronger. And I think that's what I tried to do, and I'm going to continue to do.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very wise sentence you just said about the blame to the head coach and the quarterback. Another thing I heard about, like from the NFL, once a NFL player or football player starts about thinking about retiring, like he will not achieve his best performances anymore, and he's pretty much like done. I mean, we see in the NFL right now, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers struggle big time this year. It's a little bit personal maybe, but like after that game, Frankfurt against Frankfurt, or in any time of your career, did you ever think about like, okay, I think I'm gonna stop, or how is that for you? How is that for a quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I never thought that I wanted to stop because of my like inability to play. I thought that maybe I wasn't going to be given an opportunity to play at a high level again. And I almost did retire after the Hamburg Sea Devils and bring me back, and I didn't really have an opportunity in the league. But thankfully, Oliver Zimmerman, who was kind of a friend of the ELF and kind of helps the Sea Devils, a guy here in Hamburg who I'd become close with, he was connected to the Lübeck Cougars, and he said, "Hey, you're going to be living in Hamburg anyways for the next year. Why don't you just continue to play with the Lübeck Cougars?" And I was like, "Well, you know, this is a really cool opportunity to keep playing, even if it's on a little bit of a lower level." And so I decided to take that opportunity going into the 2022 season. So yeah, it was never something that where I wanted to retire. I thought that maybe I wasn't going to be given an opportunity to continue my career.
So to close that Frankfurt Hamburg game, because I was live there, and I think you played great. You know, I think like both teams played really, really well, and it could have gone either way. Was that, even though it ended not the way you wished, was that still like your highlight in front of so many fans? Or would you like say, okay, there were other games? Maybe
no, I wouldn't call it a highlight.
No, but like just from the atmosphere.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I would say that. I mean, to be a part of the first ever ELF championship, the production, the stadium, everything about it was first class. It was awesome. Hopefully I get another opportunity next season to get back and maybe win it all. So that's my goal, man. I really, really want to win a championship and bring something to the Rhein Fire in Düsseldorf, a city and team that deserves it.
Yeah, you prolonged your contract too for another year, right? Or for two?
Yeah, I've already resigned for next year. Yeah.
Oh, for next year. Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's talk about Rhein Fire a little, because that was a pretty successful time once you filled in for Matt Adam, you know.
Yeah.
I think you guys had three wins and three losses at this time, but the receiving core you worked with, how can you describe that? Because like for people like us, you know, we thought, okay, these are really talented dudes out there.
Yeah. That was, I mean, I can think back to my first day when I signed on like a Wednesday, hopped on a
Yeah.
train the next morning, got down to Dusseldorf and was practicing the same night. And uh, we're just going through routes, just throwing to the receivers. And I was like, holy crap, you know, obviously already knew how good Nathaniel Robitaille was as him being my former teammate and roommate in the past. But, you know, Harlan Kofi's a guy that has unbelievable size and athletic ability and ability to move in the air and quickly catch the ball and get upfield. You got a guy like Timothy Kanoodle, who is like a half German, half American guy who is quick and shifty and has a really good feel for the game. And we also had a tight end when I got there, a Flo, who impressed me right away. And then there was other guys too. Even the backups I thought were, you know, solid guys. So it was like, boom, I hadn't been around this much talent in one receiving core in a while. And it felt good to know that I was going to have guys that I just had to get the ball in the right spot and they were going to make plays.
Yeah, I mean, and now you finally will have an off season. You know, you guys can finally repair. I heard that. I mean, I'm living in Leipzig, so I heard
Oh,
that a
nice.
couple times. Oh, finally we have an off season, you know, and
Yeah.
we can work on stuff and prepare. Because honestly, we as us as fans, you know, and commentators and however you want to call us, podcasters, whatever, we want to
Yeah.
see like the best performances, and you guys need an off season about that, right?
Yeah. It helps a lot. I think to really hit on a high level, you need to have played together for a little bit of time and you need to know what the other guy's going to do. So having the ability to have the core of our team back next year is going to be huge. Having Coach Tom Sula back and then adding a few new coaches and a few new players, we're just going to go from good to hopefully great is the goal.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about Jim Tomzula? Because I mean, the coaching staff, that's what we talked about all time last year. Rhein Fire like really pumped up their coaching staff last year. They had made a switch too, you know,
Yeah.
but it seems like a very, very professionally coached team. So what can you say from your personal experience about the style of coaching also Jim Tomzula has?
Yeah, I would say Coach Tom Sula is first and foremost a player's coach. So he
Mhm.
cares about his players on and off the field, and he takes care of them more than anything. Um, a quote that he's mentioned a few times, or a saying that he said a few times, is that he got his jobs in the NFL through players and by always doing right by the players. So he's going to always do that in the future. Um, so it does feel very professional, but it also feels like an organization that cares about you as a person. And I think that all starts at the top, from ownership to the front office to also Coach Tom Sula. He's an amazing guy. I mean, he's someone that him and I just fit so well together. I think our personalities are very similar. We're very, I don't know, maybe loving, compassionate people, but also very passionate and fiery. So, you know, I don't think football is a sport that can only be played by being 100% nice guy all the time. I think you have to have a little bit of fire and be able to, demand a high level of uh, effort and expertise from the guys around you, because in order to win, that's what it takes. And Coach Tom Sula is going to hold you accountable to be your best, but at the same time, he's a teacher and he's going to make sure that when he gives you a message, it's coming from a good place. So he just strikes that perfect balance of being hard on you, but also loving you up at the same time. And I think that's what makes him so special. And then the rest of the coaches are awesome as well. My quarterback coach that is going to be returning next year, Coach Allen. He's an awesome guy. He's a guy from Belgium. Drives very far distance to be at practices, but does an unbelievable job with making sure that we're prepared. Very smart guy. Andrew Weidinger is going to be the new OC. He obviously has a really good track record of coaching in the NFL, coaching, I believe, was it the USFL, and then with the Potsdam Royals and the GFL, and then the Barcelona Dragons this past year, and turning them into a playoff team.
That was crazy. Yeah,
was
that
pretty
was crazy.
impressive. Yeah, and I've started to look over the playbook some and stuff. I was actually looking over it some before we got on this interview, and I'm fired up. I'll put it that way. There's some really cool stuff in there, and I think that he and I are going to be a great fit together as well. And we should be able to do really special things next year with the coaching staff we have.
Okay. I wanted to fill in another question, but now you're talking about next year. So I got to ask, what is the goal, or what is the realistic goal for Rhein Fire Düsseldorf next year, in your opinion? Do you have also some personal goals you want to achieve next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think whenever you start a season, the goal has to be to win a championship. If it's not to win a championship, what are you doing? There are no moral victories. There is no, let's go win 2 games. I mean, that's, if you want to do that, go hang out in the park and just throw the ball with your friends. So obviously we're trying to win a championship. Obviously we'd like, no team's been able to do it yet. And our first game first, we got to do how to get too worried about winning a championship. We just need to focus on the day-to-day things and what we can control. And for me personally, as far as personal goals, to me, at this point in my career, I genuinely only care about winning. It's great to get recognition, of course, but recognition is going to come through team success. It doesn't really matter to me if you go out there and you have the best stats as the quarterback, but you don't win it all. So, yeah, I personally want to win a championship, and team, we want to win a championship. It's very simple.
Yeah, I mean, I wish you best of luck on that way. So let's switch a little bit to the chat, because we got some questions, and thanks to Hendrik, I can read the questions here. So I would ask you two. The first one is, where do you see the ELF in 5 years? It's a question from the game. Maybe
the
Triple
game.
H,
Okay.
like,
let me get my magic ball. Tell you guys. That's a good question. I mean, how about we say where I would like to see it? I think that it is going to keep growing and expanding. I think the goal is something like that. And hopefully maybe in 5 years, super professionalized to the point where every single player can at least make something like €1,000 a month and can kind of live halfway decent. So become fully professional, I would say. And then maybe even a partnership with the NFL. I think those would be the two things that could take this to the next level.
Yeah, I think we all would like to see that. So you talked about Coach Reidinger, and we cannot find anything too close out about the playbook of the Rhein Fire next year tonight, obviously. But there's a question from Elias. The former Surge quarterback Aaron Ellis, I guess you know him too, is a big proponent of many forward plays or for vertical plays in the playbook. Are you a fan of these kind of plays too, or do you see a lot of dangers in there?
Yeah, four verts is definitely, I think, a part of almost every playbook. It's in, Coach Weidinger's playbook. It's in, I think, almost every modern team has four verts in. Yeah, I'm a proponent of four verts. I personally think that there's ways to generate bigger plays without necessarily. I mean, four verts is great. Don't get me wrong, but you're in a situation where you can't pass protect very well in four verts, and you're relying on the quarterback to make perfect reads and perfect throws. So I definitely like it, but I think that there's other plays that are better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, your running back cannot miss his block. Like otherwise it's over. So one more from ELF Info Group. Who are you wishing yourself for a right receiver? Do you have any wish for a new right receiver? Because Timothy Knudel is going to the CFL. So there is a spot open.
There is. Let's stay tuned. Hopefully we get Harlan Kofi signed. He was a stud last year, so that would be a huge re-signing. Hopefully we're able to re-sign Nathaniel Robitaille. And then who knows, maybe there's another guy out there that maybe we'll be able to convince to come. You never know.
Yeah, I have a personal question too, because I'm a friend of Patrick Perch, because
Oh
he's
yeah,
just
great
such a
dude.
funny guy.
Yeah.
So how do you value the position, or can you describe it a little bit, the value of the position of a real fullback in
Oh yeah.
football these days,
There we go. Now we're talking real football, man. There's no four verts when you got a fullback in the game. Tell Aaron Ellis that. I think that if you can establish the run and have play action off of it, it is tried and true the best way to be effective in football. Having a fullback like Patrick that is probably one of the hardest hitters in the whole league, but also has soft hands and can actually run routes. I mean, when we played Frankfurt at home, he had 2 huge long catches. Is unbelievable. If you look at Kyle Juszczyk in the 49ers offense, or number 30 for the Dolphins. I don't know their fullback's name, but he's played really well this year. I would envision Patrick Puch having a kind of a role like that for us next year. I think we're going to use him a lot.
That would be great. So Perch was writing Schädelsuppe, ein Begriff. Is that a word? I don't know what to make of that, but okay. Schädelsuppe.
He's in the chat right now.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't mean any of that. He sucks. Patrick sucks. He's not a good guy. He's not a good player. That was lying.
Well, he had some great tackles and special teams last year. I gotta say that. There were some highlights.
He's a long snapper too. He can do it all. That guy's special.
He can do it all. Like most valuable player in the whole league. Okay, so one more question of Balu right now. Balu asked you, for you, who was the best quarterback and the best wide receiver last season?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, I would say myself and Nathaniel Robitaille. I think that we together have so much chemistry, and I would take us against anyone. I think if you don't believe in yourself, who is going to believe in you? So
that's true.
If you'd like to know other than myself, then I would probably say Sean Shelton. I think that he did a great job of leading his team, did a great job of completing a lot of passes, not throwing a lot of interceptions, and he won a whole lot of football games without an American receiver also. So I think what Sean Shelton did was very, very impressive last year.
Yeah, it's true.
Best receiver other than Nathaniel Robitaille, I think you'd have to say Kyle Sweet. I mean, he won the Triple Crown. He put up crazy numbers too. So I still would take Roby. That's my guy. That's the number one guy to me. But Sean Shelton and Kyle Sweet would be a nice combo as well.
I feel like when I saw Nathaniel Robitaille last year, I gotta say he never drops balls. It feels like he never drops any passes. Like
that guy caught so many crazy passes last year, like deep ones that you're like, how did he come up with it? It was wild.
Yeah. All right. I'm coming to the division, guys. So the league is developing right now and evolving, and we will have 18 teams next year. Just 4 will make the playoffs. It will not be easier. How do you like the development of the league so far, and the speed, and also the playoff system? And who do you wish for division opponents? That's what people want to know.
That was like a 3-part question. That was a good one, man.
I know.
You're killing this interview.
I have to make everything out of my time here.
I like it, dude. Very German of you. I would say 18 teams is pretty cool to have already. It's a little bit awkward because it doesn't, like 16 would have been nice or 20 would have been nice. 18 makes it a little awkward, but I guess they did that because that was the correct amount of teams they had ready. If they do 6 of 3, I think it would be nice to maybe have 6 teams in the playoffs so that the top 2 of each division get in. Otherwise, it's kind of unfair because if you end up in a hard division and you finish second place versus an easy division and only 4 teams make it, it's not very fair. But yeah, none of that's up to me. I don't really care. We just got to win our division. We're in the playoffs, and then we control on destiny. As far as opponents, man, I really liked having all these cool cities to fly to. It was fun going to Barcelona and Istanbul. So maybe keep them, add Paris, throw Frankfurt in with us, and I don't know, maybe give us Milan or something, another cool place. I don't know. Yeah,
I
that'd be
heard they have
cool.
a really nice stadium too, like the Milano
Yeah,
Sea. So,
that'd be cool.
and a cool name, by the way. But yeah.
Something like that.
All right, cool. Okay, so I checked the chat because I asked him so many questions. You know, we were killing the interview, so we are coming like close to the end. Thank you that you had time for me today, you know, for us all.
Yes, sir.
We always like to find out more stuff. But before we go, we do the football meets your ELF star always with some like extra questions, some private questions or whatever. So
Okay.
just answer as quick as you can, you know, what comes to
Rapid
mind.
fire. Here we go.
Not going hard on you. Aaron Ellis had to sing, you know, have you ever seen The Rain or something like this? So I will not putting this on you, okay?
Thank God.
But but I want you to tell us, the community, and me personally too, you have an Irish pass. Is that correct?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess St. Patrick's Day is pretty high in your like favorite days, right?
I live lucky. Yep. March 17th has been good to me.
Okay. What was your craziest St. Patrick's Day in your life?
Oh man. That's a good one. Okay. So in college I got hurt. I hurt my throwing shoulder.
Ah.
It was tough, right? I didn't know if I was gonna be able to come back. Same injury Drew Brees had. There was a Irish physio trainer at Weber State, and she kind of helped me regain my confidence and get me 100% healed after coming back from such a major surgery. And I always, joked with her, I'm gonna repay the favor to you one day. Well, back in 2019, I flew to Ireland on St. Patrick's Day to Dublin, met up with her. We went out, had a crazy time on in the streets and at the parade, and got super drunk. It was an unbelievable time. And then I surprised her and took her to a Drake concert the next night. So that was hands down. Yeah, she loved that. It was super cool. It was like a memory of a lifetime. It was a great way to say thank you, and we had a good time.
Well, that sounds amazing. I mean, like St. Patrick's Day in Dublin sound already amazing, but you still have contact?
Yeah. We're still pretty close. She's been an awesome friend of mine for all these years.
Cool. All right. That's pretty creative too, man. I got to give you that. So let's talk a little bit NFL. Who's your favorite NFL player and team this year?
Well, I'm from Tampa, so the Bucks and Tom Brady. It's tough watching them this year. Holy crap. Things are just off right now. I think it's tough when you have those issues in your personal life to be able to perform at the highest level. Also like watching the Niners and the Dolphins just because I'm fans of the offensive scheme. So never thought I'd be a fan of the Dolphins, but they're pretty fun to watch this year.
It's crazy, especially what was going on in the off season with their owner and Flores, And
yeah,
I thought it's a terrible franchise, but they really seem to turn it around. Also, what they did with their picks and stuff.
Yeah, dude. What did they get? They got Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and now Chubb.
Bradley Chubb
from the Trey Lance trade. That was a smooth GM move.
And the 49ers have Trey Lance.
Yeah, on the bench.
Yeah, it's true. But you just talked about Tom Brady. So we are covering the NFL too. Every
cool.
Wednesday, we give you a YouTube video, by the way, called Football Blindside. Check it out. But you talked about Tom Brady. And I wonder if you can tell me your opinion about it. Tom Brady was caught like yelling at his O-liners, You said a couple minutes ago, you cannot always be the nice guy, What do you make of it that Tom Brady is like, was freaking out on their O-lines, it got frustrated and stuff because it was hotly discussed?
Well, okay. So here's my opinion on that. My O-line coach in college gave me a great piece of advice. The only time you should yell at someone on the football field is when they're not giving full effort or they don't have a good attitude. So everything else, mistakes are going to happen or bad shit's going to happen in a football game, right? But their yelling is only going to compound it and make it worse. But if someone's being lazy and jogging, or if someone's just being negative and not having a good attitude, I think it's your responsibility as the quarterback to hold people accountable, and others should hold you accountable too, to make sure that you always give good effort and great attitude. So with that individual situation, maybe some guys were just kind of not fully motivated and going as hard as they could, and maybe they needed to be ripped. Sometimes telling everyone, oh, it's fine, it's okay, doesn't get the best out of them. You have to be a little bit of a motivator and find the right moments to be uplifting or be a little bit more, direct and a little bit harder on guys. So I think that every top quarterback in the history of the game has been at certain moments a fiery person. If you look at Peyton Manning, old videos, or Aaron Rodgers at times, or Tom Brady, even Mahomes got into it with Bellinemi, the OC for the Chiefs this year. So I don't think your job as a quarterback is just to always be the nice guy. That just can't work. You have to obviously try to be a nice guy, but then hold people accountable and be fiery at certain times.
Yeah, I totally agree. I wish Aaron Rodgers would be a little bit more like aggressive right now, and not rolling eyes all the time, because that's what I don't like. Okay.
Passive aggressiveness is not my thing. I don't like that either.
Oh, no, not my cup of tea either.
Yeah.
So if you would imagine you leave Germany, you go back to the States or somewhere else, what would be something would you really miss about Germany? It can be everything, food or whatever.
Schnitzel, Schweinehaxe.
Of course.
Everybody being on time.
Okay. You like that?
Yeah, man, it's great. I mean, it's funny. Like when I first got here, I guess I was probably the typical American where like if someone asked you to make plans, you're like, yeah, let's do it, something. But when Germans like ask you to do something, they're like serious, like, no, we'll meet up at this time. I'll see you there. And I don't know, it's kind of nice to have people be so reliable and trustworthy and moral people. I would say Germans are that for sure. I would miss that. I would miss maybe some order of things, but I would like being able to go to grocery stores on Sunday again. Having good Mexican food would be nice. I don't know. People being laid back a little bit in the States is nice too. So there's pros and cons to both places.
I agree. Five Guys burger in the United States. By the way, to everybody who thinks that he knows Five Guys because in Europe you ate a Five Guys burger, it's not the same.
Yeah, you think it's way different?
I think it's really different. Yeah, of course the peanuts. Like sometimes they don't have peanuts here, and like Five Guys in America.
Right. You know what I miss the most is Chick-fil-A, man. Have you ever had that?
Yes, I did. Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, not too much about food. I'm getting really hungry right now when you say Chick-fil-A. So imagine in 10 years when you stop playing football, will you go to finance for a job, or is there a career waiting for you in football? Do you think like maybe something like coaching, journalist?
You know what? So many people have asked me that question recently, like where do I see my future at? I don't know, man. I could see myself staying in Europe, maybe staying in Germany for sure. I also like Switzerland. I got a guy who helps me, kind of is like a really like a good friend of mine and helps me as an agent, Dominic Baumgartner down there. So I got a teammate, Lucas Ruas, from down there. Switzerland's a beautiful place. So I could see myself there. Could see myself staying in Germany, working in finance or tech, kind of those sort of industries, or remaining in football. If there's an opportunity to remain in football, I think that would be the ideal scenario, just because it's my passion, man. Working in football would never feel like having a job to me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've been to Switzerland a couple times too. It's really beautiful. Have you been to Zug or Zurich?
I've been to Zurich, and I've driven all through Switzerland. Got all turned around and lost. My navigation didn't work, and that was a disaster, but it ended up being fun.
Okay, so we talked about it before the video a little bit. You play fantasy football too, right?
Oh yeah.
With your Rhein Fire guys. Like, what player of Rhein Fire, and don't say Patrick Pötsch because he gets way too much credit today, is right now leading your league?
Unfortunately, it's Jason. He's our awesome D lineman that we've got. He's an expert at trades. He's always sending trades to guys and wheeling and dealing and then talking crap in the group chat. So I got to give it up to him. He's killing it right now. I'm playing Yannick, our corner, this week. So I'm going to take you down, Yannick. And I'm going to keep rising in the ranks. I'm going to finish number 1.
Nice. Okay. So one more ELF question and then we're through. Who do you
Sure.
think, what team will be the surprise of the year?
The surprise of next year.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's tough. It's so tough because we don't have the rosters put together yet. But I would
Mm.
maybe say Milano Seaman. I think that Milano
Mm-hmm.
Seaman, the Italians have a good core of guys, and they've played
Mm.
together a lot on the national team. So if they're able to get all of the national team guys together and then build upon the imports that they had from the years past, like with Luke, I think that they have a chance to be really good and surprise some people. Who else do I think? There's so many teams now, 18, gosh. Stuttgart. I mean, Stuttgart has won 2 games in 2 years. I think they're going to be pretty good. So with Coach Newman and all the guys that they've brought in on the coaching staff. So I would say those teams, Stuttgart and Munich, or Stuttgart and Milan, will probably surprise people.
Man, Jadrian, you had the big chance to do me a favor here and say Leipzig Kings, but okay. I
Leipzig's good, man.
I
They beat me in the last game, man. They pulled it off. So it's not a surprise anymore. No, I know Moritz Heisler, the owner of Leipzig. He's an unbelievable guy.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
I think Coach Booker is a good guy too, from everything I've heard about him. So I think Leipzig is going to be good, but that's not a surprise. So there you
go. All right. Okay. So Jadrian Clark, everybody, thank you very much. We don't have any more questions in the chat. I hope that you liked the video. Please like or follow or comment, please, on the YouTube version later. Jadrian, it was a great time to have you, and we end the videos always the same style. You get the platform to talk whatever thing you want to say to your fans from Rhein Fire Düsseldorf. Thank you very much for coming, and yeah, stage is yours.
Yeah, so first off, I'd like to say thank you to everyone involved with football. You guys have done an amazing job of supporting the game, all from just your love and passion. Without guys like you continuing to show interest and create content, football can't grow. So it's unbelievable what you guys are doing. First off, second off, thanks to all the Rhein Fire fans. Thanks to the coaching staff. I'm super grateful to be returning there. It's an honor to be back. Thanks to my teammates for, rallying around me and allowing me to come in and become such a quick addition to the team last year. And you guys made me feel like home. And yeah, just thanks to everyone in Europe that's continuing to grow this game. It's so near and dear to my heart. I think American football is, the most beautiful game on earth. It's without football, I don't even know be on this earth. It allowed me to get a free education. It's allowed me to explore the world. It's taught me so many lessons as a man and as a person that even if you never become pro or make a single dollar off of it or euro off of it, it's going to teach you so many life lessons. So I just want to keep continuing to see it grow through the youth and through the local European talent. And yeah, let's build this thing together and let's continue to try and support one another. There's no reason to have division or be against each other. We'll compete on the field, but off the field, it's all one tight-knit community, and let's do it together.